Road to the Pros, baby. Episode number 2 of many, many episodes because this is going to be a long, long journey. So, I don't know, there'll be 50, 60, 100, 200 episodes. I have no idea, but it's another Thursday night, and this may become a regular Thursday night thing because, as you can see, I'm just kind of chilling here at the house. I'm in my favorite green chair. I'm just kind of kicking back and relaxing, and I kind of thought, let me go ahead and knock out episode 2 here. Last week we did episode 1, Road to the Pros, where I kind of talked about my goals of wanting to turn pro in a natural bodybuilding organization. I want to turn pro. I want to do well in a pro show, and I want to win a pro show. Not necessarily all together, not necessarily all in the same season, but ultimately these are my goals. I'm going to take next year off. I'm looking to get back on stage sometime in 2019, probably summer, fall 2019 would be my guess. And so in episode 2, after I thought through what I went over in, kind of the first installment, I thought, all right, so what am I going to talk about in, the next episode? And it was pretty obvious, really. What do I think it's going to take to turn pro? So what do I think I'm going to need to bring to the stage to actually achieve my goal of earning my pro card? So here's kind of where I'm at on that. So the last competitions that I did back in August, I made tremendous progress. And so as you guys know, if you've been following, what I did, or you even watched last week's video, Road to the Pros episode 1, I won the novice class. I took 4th in the open class in the first show, and I took 2nd in the open class in the second show, which means I was literally one spot away from turning pro, which actually sounds a lot closer than it actually was because, I had no right turning pro on that day. Like, I knew that I was still a level behind those guys, and the guy that beat me was straight up legit. Like, that guy was legitimate. That guy was definitely... that guy definitely deserved to be a pro. And, on that day, I didn't quite deserve to be a pro. I wasn't quite there yet. But still, for my own progress and where I've been with my own bodybuilding career, was a tremendous amount of progress. I made huge strides forward. But interestingly, so when I first started competing many years ago, I did my first show, I think, in 2001. So it's been 16 years. I mean, that's just crazy. So the first competition I did, I think I was like 190, maybe 192, 193 on stage. And, I mean, I got just my tail handed to me. And so I had no business being on stage. But it was very motivating. It was very inspiring. And it kind of showed me what I needed to do to compete at the local level. Right? I then competed in many local shows. Now I'm at the pro qualifier level. And so there's obviously been kind of a graduation, along the way. There's been kind of, this ratcheting up of the level of difficulty and the level of competition. Well, that being said, prior to these 2 shows I did in August, the last competition I did was in 2014. And when I stepped on stage in 2014, I was 180. And I was really happy with where I was at 180. I was like, wow, I made huge strides. I mean, I was 10 pounds lighter than I had been when I first started competing, and I had a lot more muscle on my frame. So I was actually a lot lighter and leaner than even the scale showed. But I said, all right, 180 is just not lean enough. 180 is just not tight enough. Because at these natural shows, to become a really elite level natural bodybuilder, you need to have size, but you really just need to be completely shredded, man. You really just need to be completely diced to where, like, if you're walking down the street with clothes on, you may not even look like you work out. Like, you may just look like a thin guy. And then obviously, like if you took your shirt off or if you were on stage or whatever, then you're like, wow, that guy looks huge. When actually, to the average person, to the layman, you actually just look like a normal person. So I thought 180 was not enough. So I legitimately thought, I said, all right, if I could get to the high 160s, I'm only 5'7". If I could get to the high 160s, then that should be lean enough. I should be totally peeled. I should be completely shredded. And that should be enough to win my pro card. And so I went into, I had never been in the high 160s. I had never been below, really 180 before on stage in competition shape, or at least what I deem to be competition shape. So I went into these last couple of shows positioning myself to try to get to the high 160s. And that's exactly what I did. I gave myself enough time. I did a pretty good job. When the dust settled, I was 168 on the day of the first show. I think I was like 169 on the day of the second show because carb loading and all that kind of stuff. And truth be told, that was not lean enough. Truth be told, I still was not lean enough. 168 just wasn't there. Now, I was a lot leaner than I had been at 180, which is why I did so well in these competitions. But for me to get to the level that I want to be at, I'm now realizing that, wow, man, I think I need to be like 155, 156, 157, 158, somewhere in that range. Now, it sort of depends on how much muscle I'm able to put on my frame over the course of the next 16, 17 months while I'm taking all this time off. But, at 5'7", these guys that I follow, a lot of these guys that I kind of look up to and that I follow, like Cliff Wilson and Lane Norton and Jeff Nippert and Alberto Nunez and these guys I mentioned last week and all these other guys and Eric Helms, and just based on how tall they are and their competition weights, 168 for me at 5'7" is too heavy. It's way too heavy. I need to be in the 5 handle, no question, with my body weight. And so I really think that to achieve the goal that I want to achieve, I need to step on stage in the high 150s. Again, give or take a couple of pounds, depending on how much muscle I gain. So, in order to do that, this is kind of why I started this video series last week, because I'm starting to train now. Because I know that if I want to give myself even any remote chance at doing that, I've got to get serious now. I've got to get focused right now. Now, it doesn't mean that I need to be super strict, and it doesn't mean that I've got to count every last gram of everything, and it doesn't mean that I've got to be a hermit and never go out and not enjoy my life. It doesn't mean any of that. But it does mean that I need to keep an eye on my ultimate goal. And I need to keep an eye on that goal right now, here, today. And so that's what I'm doing, because for me to be 158, so when I started training for the shows in August, I started in early May, I was 188. And I went from 188 to 168 in about 15 weeks, which is pretty good. That's like a pound and 1.3 pounds a week or so. The next time I compete, here's my plan. I want to start at about 183, 184, 185. I want to go down to 158. So that's about 25 pounds, 26 pounds. I'm actually going to give myself like 25 weeks. So if I do a show, let's say I do a show in like August of 2019, I'm going to start training in February. I'm going to give myself 25 weeks. And I'm going to do that for 2 reasons. Number one, I want to go super slow. Because I was able to start so light, relatively speaking, in this last time at 188, getting down to 168, I was able to go pretty slow, pretty gradual. Now, I didn't know that 168 was not going to be enough. I legitimately thought it was going to be enough. And when the dust settled, it wasn't enough. And that's okay. You know what I mean? You live, you learn, and you adjust. But this time, I want to do the same thing. I want to go really slow. I want to go even slower. I want to put myself in a position where I only have to lose about a pound, 1.1, 1.2 pounds a week. And secondly, I want to be ready 2 to 4 weeks before the show. So before the day of the show, so let's say the show is on August 1st. On July 1st, I want to look in the mirror and I want to say, I'm totally shredded, man. Like, I'm totally peeled. I'm ready to go. If the show was today, I'd be all set. Because I want to do that for a couple of reasons. Number one, you always hit snags and snafus and all these different things along the way. So if I plan on getting ready 4 weeks early, then if I hit a couple of snafus and I have a couple of weeks where it doesn't work and whatever, then that's okay. I'll still be ready 2 weeks early or 1 week early. But number two, if I get ready early, that will allow me to reverse diet into the show. That will allow me to cut some cardio into the show, which will allow me to come on stage looking alive, looking awake, having some juice, having some liveliness, having some fire in my body, as opposed to cutting right up until the end, and then you go on stage and you feel kind of depleted and deprived, and that's not, I'm a bodybuilder. I'm not a body, starver or a body depleter or a body cutter. I'm a bodybuilder, right? And so I want to get early. I want to get ready early for that reason. But number three, I want to give myself a super long time, because the next time that I do this, I want to incorporate diet breaks. And so I'm going to talk about this a lot actually in some future videos, because this is really fascinating. And it's somewhat new in the research, and it's very, very new to me. And it's very closely related to reverse dieting. But the basic idea is, when you're doing a long cut, you give yourself some window of time, like a week or 2 weeks, where you just bring your calories back up to maintenance. And it allows your body to repair, it allows you to recover physically, mentally, emotionally, all those different things. So, wrap this video up, man. What's it going to take to turn pro? I think I need to be in the 50s. And to do that, I need to start now. And then when the time comes to actually get ready for the show, I'm doing 20 plus weeks, man. And I'm going to get ready early. So, that's it, man. I hope that you guys gained something from this for your own fat loss journeys or muscle gain journeys or life journeys or whatever. If you guys want to, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Man, that would be absolutely huge and phenomenal. I would thank you guys so much. If you guys want to follow me on social media, I'm at jschultzf30. And I've been saying this a lot, but we got some really fun, big things coming on down the chutes. It looks like it's going to drop here in the next week or two, so I'm super excited. And we'll see you guys next time for episode number 3.